A very good morning to one and all. I, Alisha Lalani, the coordinator of Industry Institute Interface Committee, welcome you all for today's webinar. As a part of Students Development Activities and Corporate Connect, IMDR continuously organizes webinars by various renowned industry experts. And today amongst us we have Ms. Prachi Mohapatra as our guest of the day. Ma'am is a marketing head at Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. Prachi ma'am is a business-oriented marketing head with a keen interest in brand and business building. She works with a high-performance team of marketers, in-store experience designers, and business analysts. From a large-size conglomerates to startups in FMCG, fashion, beauty and personal care industries, her journey has been nothing short of an exhilarating ride. Ma'am puts her core out as initiating and successfully implementing mid-sized business with profitable bottom line. Business development, marketing strategy, and ROS is a forte, and she believes that a great team and a people make the biggest impetus to any business. Ma'am is an avid traveler, inveterate foodie. She believes her humble beginnings, small town upbringing, multicultural exposure in various parts of India and globe has enabled her to make huge difference to any project and business that she has been involved with. I would request ma'am to take over and share her valuable thoughts with us. Over to you, Prachi.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Shruti. And first of all, I don't know where you guys are seated at the institute. It looks very familiar. The background, is it in the office or is it in the library? It looks very familiar. So yeah, to start with, a lot of nostalgia and a lot of good memories from the institute as well. And thank you for that glowing reference. Yeah, it's something that I use for LinkedIn. Apart from that, I'm a very adventurous person and a very humble beginnings person. So I'm going to take over, and guys, feel free. Let's make it an interactive session. Let's not make it a one-way session. I will ask questions. You guys are not allowed to ask questions till the end. You have all the right time to ask questions. But yes, I would try to make it an interactive session. And Shruti, if somebody could navigate through the interaction while I am presenting, because I'll be asking questions. Is that good by you, Shruti?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly all right.
Perfect. Thank
So
you so
student
much.
coordinator is available. She'll do the needful, ma'am. Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, Alicia, right?
Alicia, yes, Alicia
Okay.
is.
Sorry, Alicia, for missing out your name and thanking you. Thank you so much for giving that glowing introduction as well. And do please feel free to take the question that I asked. So guys, to begin with today, I mean this interaction session is something that I was really looking forward to. Apologies for being delaying this session, and I know Shruti has been uh, in touch to get this session on board. Why I picked up this entire conversation of VUCA, and I mean, all of you are intelligent people here. You would have done your searches and would know the meaning of a VUCA world. So I'm not going to lay down my entire interaction basis that this is the description of VUCA. Um, what in your thought is a VUCA world? I mean, what is it that comes to your mind when I say a VUCA world? Anybody, if you want to take a guess on it. Alicia, if you can see if there are any hand raises or questions, I cannot see if there are any answers. And there are no marks, no points, no punishment. So please feel free to answer your question as per your ability or as per your understanding. What do you understand when I say the word VUCA? And don't give me a description. Alicia, are there any responses? Are there any hands up? Alicia, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
Am I audible, ma'am, now?
Now you are audible, yes.
Yes, ma'am. We have a hand raise from Prakash. Prakash, you
Okay.
may unmute yourself and answer.
Good morning, ma'am. So,
Hi.
basically, the word VUCA means the dynamic business environment. I am not going to tell the all this volatility, uncertainty. What comes to in my mind is business world is dynamic, and as per new normal situation, we can see that this is completely applicable. That there is an uncertainty for the business. So, this dynamic city and this dynamic environment comes to my mind when I listen to the word VUCA.
Hmm, hmm. That's a good one, Prakash. Thank you so much. Any other hand raises? And I'm not looking, I don't have a right answer. You guys can have form your own answer.
Yes, ma'am. We also have a hand raise from Mansi. Mansi, you may unmute and ask.
Good morning, ma'am.
Hi, Mansi.
Uh, Ma'am, I think in the VUCA world, business changes become so quickly as a surprise, and it becomes less predictable, and doing business becomes complicated and uncertain.
Bilkul. Thank you so much, Mansi. That was a good one. And thanks, Prakash, for attempting the first one and raising up your hand. So, right. In fact, that's precisely what a VUCA world means. And so, why do I have a happy picture when we are in a VUCA world? In fact, this is one of my favorite pictures because this is a dream picture of any leader or any business person. I mean, high fives, successes are the ultimate dream of any business wherein we see results, right? It is something that we all gun for. But yes, it's highly unpredictable. And what is it? What does it mean when it means running a business in the VUCA world? Again, as I said, it's not going to be descriptive. It's going to be conversational and interactive. And I'll come back with a lot of examples when I see our businesses running in this world. The next picture is a team picture, which is a team from, it's my ex team from FBB, which is Fashion and Big Bazaar. And this is one third of my team size. A day before Diwali, we were all meeting. This is way back in 2019 when offices were a thing, and this is one third of the team. So at one point of time, in when I was working with FBP, there are 27 of us or 28 of us working in the marketing, visual merchandising, BI analytics. This is the entire representation of the different various portals. I had an opportunity to, I was very fortunate to work with them. So this is marketing, business analytics, visual merchandising, and the BI team in the picture. One third of them, in fact. So think about it. I mean, 27, 28 different minds, each of them having at least 2, 3 projects with multiple hundred activities per each project. I mean, you do the math and think about the probability of any step going wrong at any given point of time. And these are fertile adult minds and brains which have their own understanding of a business also. So overlapping it with the business objective, with their experiences, and finally coming out with solution. So the probability of anything going wrong is manifold. And however much you are prepared, however much you know your business, you think you know your business, there is always a chance of unpredictability. This situation is very different from what we are entering into. Or else also in normal parlance also, the entire business is amazingly lying on the pillars of being unpredictable most of the time. Pandemic is a situation wherein we have thrown into it, and it demands something very different from it. So the idea of this picture was to be able to tell you that what all can actually contribute to a business, and a business is always in a VUCA world. This situation is not a VUCA situation only signaling out, or the business world by itself, or generally wherein we are running a business, is always in a VUCA space. What is it that we can do to control this? I mean, it's not always gory saying that okay, it's a VUCA world, we are going to be unpredictable all the time. No, that's precisely why we are here as business people. We are here to be able to figure out our answers from an unpredictable solution. The first ask is going to be absolutely where you are running from. So game time now. I have a question. I generally ask a very different question, this question in a very different way, but I'm sure since we have a very young audience today, I'm sure you guys will have a answer to this, the next slide. And Alicia, if you could unmute yourself, because then I might want to have answers very quickly. And if you could see who raised their hands and gives this answer first. Are you ready, Alicia? First of all, you should be ready.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect. So, which is the series which is approximately 11 crore views across the 80 countries in the past 7 months. All of you are exposed to OTT. Do we have an answer, Alicia?
No, ma'am, we are waiting for students to raise.
Really? So, Shruti, you're keeping them that busy that none of them watches OTT. No answers? Guys, come on. All of you watch it. You can attempt to give an answer to me. Of course, there is one right answer, but you can attempt. Whatever you are watching, you might want to put your favorite content out here. And
Yes,
stop
ma'am, we
Googling.
have. Oh, yes.
Okay, let's see who was the fastest finger in Googling it. Okay, who is it, Alicia?
Ma'am,
They can unmute themselves.
ma'am,
Yes,
is it Squid Games?
absolutely. May I know your name, please?
Ma'am, it's Omesh.
Umesh. Okay, thanks, Umesh, for Googling it so fast. Um, so, yes, it is Squid Game. And why am I showing Squid Game? For people who have not watched this series, I would strongly suggest watch it for the very fact that it's one interesting and very very gripping series to watch. Why has it caught attention across nations, across countries? Can I have a quick vote, and Alicia, you can tell me how many of you have actually watched it? You can just put your hand up and then Alicia might be able to give me a tentative figure. Just do the virtual hand up. Alicia, do you see people raising their hand up? And
Yes, ma'am, we do have few hand raises, yes.
okay, the few who have watched it are going to enjoy this presentation more than the rest of them who have not watched it. Okay, so why do I hold this series as one of the best ones which I have come across in the past couple of months? Primarily because I think what it did was it opened up our eyes to a lot of survival tactics, a lot of tactics which most of us have to use in the business at some point or the other. And most of the time, it's not only about thriving and succeeding. Sometimes success equivalents to only survival. Um, the first and the foremost, as I said, if I go back 2 slides back, I showed you my team, which said that there are so many fertile brains all the time acting on a business and working on multiple work, working, given their skills, capabilities, add the capabilities wherever, whichever stages of capabilities they are, you need to know your playground. If you're running with 1,000 people together, this is the first game in Squid Game for people who are uninitiated completely. This is the first game in Squid Game. If you're running with 1,000 people, you should know your playground. Where is it that you should run? What are the games? What are the rules of the games that you are going to play? These are very basic questions, answers that you should be knowing. So knowing your playground is a must know. I mean, businesses do not run on gray area at all. How can you reduce the uncertainty? How can you reduce the ambiguity to an extent? You should know the ground you are running on. You should know left, right, how many people you are running with. Of course, the focus is to be a better version of yourself than the previous day. However, you should be absolutely aware of the ground, of the playground. If this is the first game, if you're going to run with 1,000 people and you have to cross the survival line just to survive, or is it only 5 or 6 people on a thin ground that you're running on? Make sure you know your ground really, really well. You know your competition really, really well. You know what is it that can make you stand out? What is it that can make you survive to the next level? So again, for people who have not seen this series, this is the first game, and this was the picture above is a game which was towards the end. Of course, by now you would have figured out this was a survival game, and this is precisely what we're talking about. It's a game of thriving, surviving, and thriving. Yep. So this is primarily my first ask of anybody who has to be able to retain this entire business. So let me give you an example of whatever we have learned, and I will give you two examples, from one from my previous experience and one from my current experience. Who all know this personality? You don't need to name him. Okay, I just want to know how many of you know him. Okay, Alicia, do we have like a couple of tens of people raising their hands? And or people who
Yes,
do
ma'am.
not know Varun Dhawan can raise their hands. Okay, yes, that's Varun, and the product that we were working with him, or the brand that we were working with him, was a denim product, and the brand was Buffalo. Now, Buffalo brand is a 42-year-old brand which we were marketing. We had the franchisee of this brand in India, and at the point when I joined the organization, it was approximately a 250 crore brand. The agenda for on table, the ask on table from management was very clear. We want to grow it to at least a 600 crore brand. Now, I'm not going to take you through the brand journey on and whatever brand actions were done on that. I'm going to talk about one typical example which we went through while developing this campaign. On the note, can I have somebody or some of you give me a brief idea of what you understand by marketing campaign, and how do you go about developing a marketing campaign? Any idea, any thoughts, any inputs? What is it that you'll do if I ask you to develop a marketing campaign for brand Buffalo? It's a denim brand. Alicia, please check if there is anybody who wants to volunteer themselves.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yep. Please go ahead. Please do introduce yourself and I can't hear if somebody is speaking. Alicia, do we have a voice? Do we have somebody speaking?
No, ma'am, we are waiting for students to raise hands.
Guys, take a call. I
Yes, ma'am.
mean, whatever you have understood, you're all PGDM too. Yeah.
Ma'am, we have a hand raised from Diganta. Diganta, you may unmute and answer.
Hi, Dikant.
Hello, ma'am. This is Vivek.
Hi.
So, normally in a marketing campaign, we will first identify the target audience that we are mostly concerned with. And next, I think we will just plan our objectives, how to go about targeting them, and how to implement the strategy. And lastly, we will just analyze the results that we get from our work. I think these, I can sum it up within these three statements.
Okay. Okay. That's a fair understanding of what you will do with a marketing campaign. Anybody else has a different opinion or wants to add something to it? Alicia, if you have anything, uh, anybody hands up more than what Digant said,
No, ma'am, as of now, we don't have
or
any
any
hand
different?
raised.
Okay, good. Guys, try to attempt answer. This is not a PPO, this is not a PPI. It's just a simple plan of action that we are doing to have to know each other. So if you don't have any other hands up, yes, absolutely, as Digant summarized, that directionally, generally, yes, we have a ask on table, and that ask can be on a number, which on Buffalo was very clear ask as from the for the brand manager who was working on this campaign, was a very clear ask saying that, okay, it's a 250 crore brand, you have to grow it to a 500 crore brand, and the time plan and the time period, because that's precisely one of the primary things that you have to definitely lock in a business as to what time period that you're looking for the results. The time period has to be a 2 years time plan in which we have to grow it by 100%. And what is it that this campaign will do? This campaign at this point of time, if runs at for a month or for 6 weeks, in all these channels, should bring about a 15% or a 20% bump. Week on week, it should, the first week, it should give us a bump of approximately 50% on that the previous week. Week two, it should give us a bump of approximately 30% or 40% or 70%. Whatever the business case has been, it should be lined up very clearly. That's if you're gunning for a number. It's something that we call in general parlance a tactical campaign. If I have attached discounting to it. Now, if I want to do a brand building campaign along with it, then the ask is very different from a perspective of. Do we have a question or a comment, Alicia, somewhere?
No, ma'am, no.
Okay. So the ask is very different, wherein we are saying that, okay, for me, I want the brand to have a warm boil or a conversation on my social media for this many time period. The engagement should be this, and this is what I'm looking for from a brand building perspective. That's how I will measure my KPIs. And so the ask can be either a very brand building, a very warm boil space, or a tactical space in which I get into the market. I know that I am a flanker brand. I am not the leader brand, or I am a leader brand, and I have to tackle the second leader. So I should know exactly where I am standing and what are my KPIs, and that's precisely how we build our marketing campaigns on this campaign. As I said, we had a very clear objective that this has to be on the long term, it has to be definitely a brand building campaign. And as well, in a 2 years period, we have to have a ask of making this brand a 2x brand in the next 24 months. What does it mean for me? Week on week, over 52 weeks, approximately a 50% jump, and then the next 52 weeks, maybe a 30% jump on it. So this is precisely how the entire plan was developed. Now, coming to this campaign, this campaign has been shot. If you can see the background, and it is a place in Bangkok called Krabi, where Thailand and Krabi, wherein we had gone and shot this campaign with Varun. A day before the campaign, I mean, all of us are there. We have lined up 2 days of shoot with a high profile, high decibel brand ambassador. However fun it might look like, it's a lot of work because we have lined up on taking a crew from India, working on the along with the crew, knowing in an unknown country wherein you will have all the spaces of working in unknown environment. The production house might know everything in and out. For us as business people, we are going into a space wherein we might have to rely on the production house getting everything clocked for us. A day with this shot has been taken early in the morning, say just at dawn. I think this was one of the first shots that we shot with one. And first of all, when a day before the shoot, we have a 2-day shoot planned. A day before the shoot, when Varun Dhawan arrives, I went to meet him, and with the production house, we're closing the entire final touches of we have to be at the shoot. The call time is at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's already a previous day, 9 o'clock in the evening, in the night, in fact. So the talent needs to sleep for about 5-6 hours to be able to look fresh, because you cannot make up everything. Suddenly, the director over there, a director who directs the entire ad campaign, says that I require 12 hours of shoot from Varun. And if you know, most of you will enter marketing and you will know this, that there is as much time you can block a talent with. And a high decibel talent like Varun Dhawan will give you only 8 hours, because that's how he's signed up for. Um, 5 hours before the actual work is to begin, I cannot, as a CMO, know that the director has to shoot for 12 hours to get the output that I have been promised on an ad campaign, which is running again into multiple hundred crores. Um, the question was, there was absolute gridlock. The talent team, of course, Varun is one of those ambassadors who would go to any extent to make a campaign successful. But hey, we're talking about money here. We're talking about hardcore money here. His team was not bending. They were very clear, the talent cannot work over 8 hours. A maximum stretch can be an hour max. That's like a free inventory from Varun's time. He's a money making inventory. If I'm asking for in 1 hour extra, that's something that's manageable. But what I'm asking for is approximately over and above the stretch time, asking for 3.5 hours extra. Over 2 days, I'm asking for 6-7 hours extra, which is like almost a day extra on his, and that's again a crore or so. So there was an absolute gridlock 5-6 hours before the shoot is supposed to happen. This is where what I generally call is an absolutely uncertain situation. Uncertainty leads to volatility. Volatile situation. What will the brand ambassador or the talent do at this point of time? He's going to raise up his hands and say that, hey, I'm not going to shoot. That's first. Second is all the money is going to go down the drains at this point of time if there is no shoot. If I get the ambassador to shoot also and try to do some or the other management with things which I don't feel might can be done away with, the director is going to say, hey, the output is not going to be what I promised you on the pre-production table because you are asking me to work on less time. Now, where is it that the ball fell? What is it that we as a team understood, I understood as an individual might have gone wrong. And it might have gone wrong at any place of time. During the pre-production meeting, why was it not told that this amount of content to be shot is going to take 12 hours? Why was the brand manager not asking this question when we had a run time saying that where is the run time? How much time is it going to take every shot? When is the shot going to get closed? Does it look like that we will be able to complete it within 8-9 hours? Why is this a surprise at this point of time? Where the ball fell, nobody knows. Did the production house tell us? Did the director tell the production house? Did the production house tell the brand manager? Did the brand manager make it up to me saying that, okay, Prachi, we need this time with the ambassador. Either we speak to him earlier or we cut some content. So, the ball can fall at any point of time. But what you need to figure out in the next 3-4 hours, in fact, it was almost 10 by the time we closed the meeting with Varun and we agreed that, okay, let's come on the call time at 3 o'clock and we will take it as it comes. Next 3-4 hours were so crucial for us to be able to figure out what is it that we can go on content wise that we can have as a conversation for this campaign to actually go on shelf and get shot, or else there is no campaign at all. There are already orders placed, there is already an inventory sitting at the warehouse for us. There is already an inventory sitting at approximately 400 stores where we are absolutely going to run the plug, and that's something that we have taken as a space. So everything is a cost buildup. And this is all working on the back of this business campaign. So where is it, what is it that we did? So you can run up to point number 99, milestone number 99. The last 1 mile is going to determine a success or a failure of your campaign. What did we do in such a situation? Over the next 3-4 hours, we determined what is it that we can cut and what is it that we can work with. When you say cut, it's not easy as saying that, okay, हम 2 frame नहीं लेंगे या हम 2 shot नहीं लेंगे. How is it going to impact what part of your campaign? What content will fall through in the digital marketing space? What is it that we can survive with? What is the good to have and what is the must have? Planning this over 3 hours versus 3 months of time is absolutely the knowing your play, where knowing your playground comes into place. You should know your playground, you should know your work so well that if you're thrown into a situation like this, you're able to close it within 1/10 of the time and know how to go about it. So it's something that over the next 3 hours, none of us had any sleep. We had not slept the previous night because all of us were traveling. None of us had any sleep. Over the next 3.5 hours, despite a lot of shouting, pulling down, what we did was I pulled the team together, sat on a table, all of us across the night we worked, cut down the content to make it workable within 9 hours for both the days. And it was a campaign which gave us approximately 25% jump, 27% to be precise, on the first week, wherein we had a target of approximately 21% or 22% on that. So, all I'm trying to bring to table is saying that we are in an uncertain space is good, but trying to make an uncertain space work for you takes a lot of preparedness. Serendipity never happens on the back of not knowing your work. It will happen once you know exactly what you are gunning for and your awareness is very high. So it's like preparedness for a situation which you might think that will never happen. So that's where we were able to save this situation and move ahead. One of the other examples that I would like to give from my current work, of course, it's not as glamorous as the previous slide is. This is the pharma industry we're talking about it. And why do you see a unknown language on the table is on the slide is it's in Russian. This is a brand called ibuprofen. Now you will be fast to Google and know that it's a product that basically is marketed. I'll not throw the molecular terms at you. Is marketed as a pain management product as well as a fever management product. So basically, when you have the first signs of cold and you start getting those signs, you generally take an ibuprofen plus paracetamol tablet so that it helps you manage the fever as well as manage the pain. So when COVID struck, I joined DRL last year after you're almost into COVID. When COVID struck, the first thing we saw was a dip in one of the focus brand in Russia market, which was ibuprofen. Now it's an over-the-counter drug. So generally, over-the-counter drug means you generally don't need a prescription for it. You can just go and buy it as a consumer. It's like you buying a combi flam over the counter. It's like you going and buying move gel over the counter. So that's how what over the counter drug means. So when we started looking at why is the sale falling post COVID, why is it that we're not being able to pull it up despite the situation that a paracetamol tablet, all of us in COVID situation have been, all of us who have had COVID, I don't know how many of you had COVID, but all of us who have had a bout of COVID knows that we need a para tablet to control our fever. So why is it dipping? So when we started digging into knowing this, why this situation has arisen, when actually the product should be taking off and flying off the shelf, it's actually dipping in. Um, the first thing we started noticing is though say approximately 80%, 85% of the sale happens through as an over the counter drug, there are of course a prescriber base. Now a prescriber base means doctor who are prescribing. What's happening is over the counter drug buying has completely reduced. People are not going out, are getting infected less. So people do not have the need to go and buy over the counter drugs first. What's happening is people are buying immunity products far more. So naturally, the preparedness of your body to get rid of to fight COVID has to be better than actually being requiring any kind of solution oriented drug. Second. Third is what we started seeing was doctors were actually prescribing paracetamol tablets when you are in a COVID situation. So what's happening is an ibuprofen plus paracetamol is not taking off, and that also had a reason. Why? Because people are going out less, people are not getting cold, people are not getting much more infected, kids are not going to school, people have stopped going to office. So absolutely there is a dip in the instances or incidences of cold. Now COVID is a situation which is absolutely, if you're controlled, you're control of everything. You're not only controlling the COVID virus from entering your body, you're basically controlling every virus from entering your body. So what's happening is it's dipping very fast. Hence, a strong brand like ibuprofen has started dipping. What did we have? What we had not done is a two-pronged approach. We had not gone ahead and seen this situation entering into this kind of space because when we entered COVID, we could have quickly jumped in and changed our conversation, saying that what you need is a paracetamol tablet. Ibuprofen is not going to to be detrimental to you at any point of time. You need paracetamol tablet. We have a double focused tablet, and we should be product, and we should be marketing it at like that. That's the first. Second biggest mistake we did was we never changed our narrative. We were selling it as a, too doubly fortified product, and that's precisely what we never did. Was we did not take cognizance of the fact that now people are working from home, They're falling less ill. They are not getting any kind of virus. So we had not prepared. Third, our communication still looked like we are in a very happy space. We never approached or changed the narrative, changed the visual impact. While what the competition did was suddenly their communication had a doctor or a consumer wearing a mask. So suddenly it visually it impacted that, hey, this is a brand which is empathetic. This is a brand who understand what situation we are in. This is not a brand which is still talking about cold when absolutely now instead of 90% of the people almost all the time getting cold, there's hardly 30% of us getting cold. So it's looking like a completely incongruous brand which has not moved ahead in time, and the time is as short as 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We had to change that speed. This is where I think we went massively wrong. As a brand, we did not take the environment around us, a changed communication, changed narrative, changed empathy towards people. And as consumers, we also don't like a brand who is not taking cognizance of any such kind of change narrative. So as a brand, when I saw that brand, when I joined, the first ask on table was, let's change the narrative, let's change the communication first. To the pharmacy chain, the communication has to be a different. To the doctors, it has to be different, and to the consumers, it has to be different. So there are three-pronged approaches of this situation you have entered in, wherein we'll have to change the narrative. So that was it. Now on the next slide, I want to have a little bit of an interaction. Tell me one brand. We have been talking about brand communication. Tell me one brand, one campaign that you remember most in the past 1.5 years, 2 years. Whichever you remember. Need not be a COVID specific communication. Any communication. What do you remember? Anybody wants to take any guess?
Yes, ma'am. There is a hand raised from Tina.
Okay, go ahead.
Tina, please unmute and ask. Yes.
So we have seen a lot of hype in the investment business during these COVID
Perfect.
times.
I'm sorry, I
So,
didn't get your name.
Tina,
Tina. Tina, tell me a brand name which you remember when you speak about hype in this industry. Any specific communication that you remember?
Upstocks or Zerodha?
I'm sorry, I think your voice in echo. Alicia, if you could.
Ma'am,
Tina, there is
Upstocks
a
or
disturbance
Zerodha?
from your.
No, I'm sorry. I'm still getting it in echo.
I'll just put it in the chat.
Yeah, do that. Alicia, if you
Also,
could read
we
it out.
also have a,
Yeah,
yes, ma'am. We also have a hand raised from Prasad. Prasad, please unmute and answer.
yeah.
Uh, yes, ma'am. I have been seeing the ads of Lifebuoy. It states that use आप कोई भी साबुन use कीजिए, but use it and make sure that you're washing your hands continuously. And we together are going to fight against this coronavirus.
What's your name?
Prasad.
Prasad. Thank you so much, Prasad. Anybody else who has any remembrance of? No, you guys have stopped watching TV. Shruti, what are you making them do? They don't watch OTT, they don't watch TV, they don't want any watch any campaigns, any communication. You're keeping them that busy. Anybody else wants to take a shot at what you remember, what you have seen? No, nobody
Ma'am,
has
Tina
seen any
has,
communication. Yeah, go ahead, Tina.
ma'am, Tina has written Upstocks and Zerodha in chat box.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So I mean, there are no right or wrong answers. I'm assuming that you guys are not watching anything or not getting exposed to any communication which is going to be guys. If that's the situation, or if you're not speaking, then it's even more troublesome. So, Prasad, thank you so much for bringing that up. The Lifebuoy example. In fact, it's one communication that has stood out for me since March 2020, and I think it takes the um, gold medal if there was a communication. I had had the opportunity to asked Mr. Sanjeev Mehta this question 2 months back. In fact, 1 month back, we were in a leadership meeting, and Sanjeev was there as a guest with us. Um, and you know what he said was, "I'm so proud of this question being asked on table, because I thought that Unilever took one for the team, and as a communication, what the brand did was it stood up and said that, take any wash and do it, just do it." That's basically saying that, you don't need to buy my product. I'm going to stand up and absolutely take one on the chest for the entire team and make the goal here. What it did for Unilever, in Sanjeev's own words, were that actually our sales tripled. We had not anticipated that. We were just trying to, of course, we were looking at a sales jump. What we were what we were looking ahead is basically to create awareness. I don't remember exactly the sales figure that he quoted. In fact, my apologies on that. It was a very strong number that he mentioned, but what I remember very categorically was that we were trying to create awareness, and I received a call from one of the CEOs saying that, I now want to buy Lifebuoy. As to protect myself and my family, because this is something that you have created such a warmth in the entire awareness situation. It was one of those conversation which brought about such awareness in washing your hands. The second conversation which actually took my attention was from one of the new age businesses, Sugar Cosmetics. When everybody in retail business, since retail and Horeca was bleeding so badly, we had so many retrenchments. What Sugar Cosmetics, as one of the new age brands I have seen around and going doing, saying that we stand up for our employees because they are our first customers or consumers, and we are not going to fire anybody. We are going to take this as a team. Again, business is about people more than about products only. The third communication that, of course, I have seen a huge surge in was the examples of how cryptocurrency as a conversation has picked up. Beat any brand. I think it has taken a lot of traction. Why? Again, primarily people were looking at investing in something new. People were learning something new. People had time to learn something new, and this was a great time, great opportunity for a tool like cryptocurrency to come in and make a mark. And I think it did very, very well taking the situation. Fourth is, I'll take an example of my own company, Dr. Reddy's Lab. When I joined Dr. Reddy's from the retail environment, what I saw was, this group of people who have been working in the pharma industry for ages. There are people who have experience in doing the new age business, how they were approaching doctors, how they were having conversation with consumers. Suddenly, what I saw was people like this who have had large amount of experience in doing the hardcore business in a certain way were left, almost all of us were left a gap, saying that, okay, this new way of doing business might not be something we are good at. What I've seen Dr. Reddy's do very categorically is take the team together, creating a secure environment in which it created a space wherein saying that, okay, let's all learn it together. Not making digital ghettos. Say most of the traditional organizations, what they did was, they took away a lot from the traditional medium and started focusing on e-com, which was always there, but suddenly it was the ask, it was the only ask. So the experienced people in traditional business were completely left uncertain and insecure, while there was a completely new age way of doing business and people were taking the mandate very differently. Such situations was handled by companies like Dr. Reddy's very well, wherein it was saying that, okay, our speed might be a little lesser than our competition, but we move together as a team. Again, business is about people more than about products. again creating certainty about an uncertain situation, that when we move across into this new situation, there is no across the line. COVID is here to stay. So when we move across and move ahead, this entire team is going to learn it and move ahead together. So we arise stronger. We might take, it might be a little painful in the beginning to take the team, but it might be certain that we are going to be together working with experienced people when they learn new age business. So why I always say that VUCA is a 9-pointer word and it's not a 10-pointer word, it's that one point that makes a lot of difference. You can prepare for 9, but it's always that one point which makes the difference of being successful or not successful, of turning the situation from from a completely uncertain space to a certain success. Now, this situation, as I said, when we were in entering this situation, I remember one of those days when panel every other day we had a group discussion and a panel study, and I remember one of the greatest minds in marketing, Ashish Bhashin, saying this: success isn't a birthright anymore. You don't feel as a human race that you will succeed all the time. Surviving only. I look for at any point of time, you can learn skills. Your intent along with your capability has to be there. Skills can be learned at any point of time. Nothing in business is rocket science. It's simple arithmetic, it's simple working, it's simple experience, and that's exactly what I look for. Outputs will be different. What was your input? What was your strategy? Coming to my favorite Squid Game, was it your strategy that you were, when you entered the situation, you thought that your team was not right, but you made sure that you had a strategy to win. You leaned back, dug in your heels, and won the game. That's precisely what most of the businesses who survived did, that played to win. So my understanding of the VUCA situation when I entered was very different. When I started seeing businesses over a period of time, from a summer trainee at the erstwhile Paris Coffee Bite at IMDR, when I entered a business, I started looking at VUCA much more from a vision, understanding, clarity, and agility. I can only be a facilitator at whatever place I am in. If I'm a brand manager, what will I do? And if I'm a CMO, what am I going to do? What is it that I can do to facilitate a situation like this? So my learnings has been in the past few years specifically, depending on what I learned over the years, is resilience is key. You have to change yourself. If there is a certain plan which is not working, change, realign, keep on innovating, play to win. If there is a plan you had which is looking like it's not going to work anymore, however much you push, change, think, pause, then change your strategy, and then precisely what you will figure out as your success. And when I say success, I don't mean you will always succeed. You can succeed to certain extent, and if you fail, you know there is one more way of not succeeding. That's how I look at it. Thank you so much, guys. If there are any more any questions, in fact, I can take up. Alicia?
Yes, ma'am. Students, if you have any questions, please raise hands. Yes, ma'am. We have a hand raised from Diganta. Diganta, please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Alicia. Hello, ma'am.
Hi,
This is
Diganta.
Digant. Okay. Yes, ma'am. So I have basically two questions to ask you. Firstly, I want to ask that with respect to a career in brand management, so we have always heard that one must need to possess good organizational skills, communication skills, and analytical abilities. I mean, these are a prerequisite that we always hear. But in the in respect to this current scenario, what we are going through right now, do you lay a greater emphasis on any core skill, or do you find that we need to take over a balanced approach of the aforementioned skills? I mean, how do you see it?
What aforementioned skills?
Like organizational skills, communication, and a bit of an analytical ability.
Okay. So I'll tell you what I look for, Digant. As I said, skills can be learned over time, but there are basic ask of any jobs that you work with. When I am hiring brand managers in my team, or when I hire brand managers in my team, I used to look at certain skills which were a must have for any business. As I said, you should know what you are looking for when you enter a business. You cannot expect it to be a one-way job. So if I'm looking for, let me find an answer for it. If I'm looking for an answer in short term, I'll hire an intern who's going to make sure that that short amount of answer is going to figure out. He's going to coordinate, he's going to run around, he's going to do a small research. But the must have skills for that intern is to be able to coordinate, is able to be financiers, to be able to do a certain kind of analysis. That's going to happen. If I'm looking for a brand manager, then my ask is to be able to definitely figure out that, okay, this is a 10 crore brand and I'm going to be able to figure out some answers on the way, and I need help if I need to ask help for certain kind of time. But if I'm hiring a brand manager at this point of time who has no understanding of the digital world, when I say digital world, it can be only it cannot be only social media. It has to be some kind of analysis skill. Do I understand how a consumer can be influenced? You might not know the answers, but do you have the right questions in your head? You might not know the ability to figure out your application of your skills, but do you have the skills, is what I would know. I do not want somebody coming to me and saying that what is the full form of GDN. Then it questions me, puts me in a space wherein I will start questioning, do you have the even the basic capability to understand the business that we are moving ahead on? Yeah. See, as I said, nothing is rocket science, but more than anything else, there are basic requirements of a skills capability. If I'm hiring a brand manager, I know I'm looking for this. If I'm hiring for a supply chain management person, then definitely I'm looking for this skills. So as a brand manager, you require certain capabilities of communication, analytics. Yes, these are asked on table. Are you going to do again develop a campaign end to end? Might not be. Are you going to develop a business case? Yes. That's the first ask. Forget about developing a marketing campaign. That's a business ask, first of all. A business case development. Do I know that certain ice cream, the vanilla is contributing to 60% and the chocolate is contributing to 30%? If I give data to you, you'll be able to, should be able to come back with certain answers to me. So it's an ask for sure. And that's how I will look at a skill fitting, resource fitting a certain JD. Did I answer your question, Digant?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It was comprehensible, quite. And secondly, I would like to ask an informal question.
Yeah.
I mean, I have done a bit of a research, and I found that you have been associated with brands like Oriflame, which belongs to the fashion and cosmetics industry, and then you switched to Future Group as a CM. And from FBB, you then now you are heading an pharma company, which is Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. So there is a distinct disparity between these sectors, and one needs to absorb a variety of information, right? So how do you describe these sectoral switches that you have done, and was it a challenge that you preferably undertook, or what are your takeaways from it, just ma'am? Can you please share it?
Okay, thank you so much, Digant. I don't get that question asked, but yes, thank you for bringing it up. See, I am wired as a different person. Some people might be wired as different. People like, I have seen people being in the same industry and being able to contribute time and again to the same industry, innovate themselves and figure out. For me, I think every new thing is that I learn adds to me as a value add. When I was in the BPC sector for approximately 8.5, 9 years, I could see me adding value at every different organization, at every different year, trying to innovate, trying to do something new. However, certain things I realized about myself. For me, if it is not challenging enough, I don't enjoy working in the space. For me, it does not matter if I'm working in fashion or in beauty and personal care, or previous to that in food, and now in pharma. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's a consumer I'm speaking to. It's a consumer who जो दवाई भी खरीदता है, जो फैशन भी खरीदता है, जो खाना भी खरीदता है. If I'm able to decode that consumer at the end, I'll be able to sell him a pharma and a pharma product, or a medicine, or a kapda, or a roti also. That's how I look at it. And for me, it's a business. It's not only marketing. And I really enjoy learning new businesses. That's why I say that I thrive on challenges. People might not. People might enjoy doing the same thing and innovating it time and again. For me, it's a challenge to learn new things, and it's not easy. It's just not easy. But I think I enjoy being uneasy. That's why I have kept looking at new challenges. If that gave you any
Thank
kind
you
of
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
do we have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, we do have a hand raised from Kalyani. Kalyani, please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, thank you, Alicia. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Kalyani.
Yeah, ma'am. So I have a question. Like, as a student, now we were going to enter the corporate. So, what are the expectations from corporate as like we are the fresher?
Hmm. So, if you're asking me what are expectations from you when I take freshers from institutes, see, as I told Digant, I'm not expecting you to come back with answers on developing something end to end. But what I look forward to is what value addition you are doing. Um, Head down answering and doing everything that I ask for doesn't work for me at all. And I don't think it works for any good leader at all. What your leader is looking for is what value add you are bringing on table, or as for me also, it's true. If I'm not bringing certain value on table, what the CEO is asking from me, then it's a futile association. As Digant asked me, what is it that has made me change my industries so many times? If I don't value add from a consumer facing business to a pharma business, as a consumer D2C person, as a business person, that's when I will fail as an individual. The ask from Dr. Reddy's at this point of time is to create a very it's a consumer facing conversation. Is it out there directly? No. In fact, there are companies out there who have been far more successful in creating consumer facing conversation. However, at this point of time, the awareness for the business is that we have to have a consumer facing conversation. Looking at individual human beings only from the patient's angle is not going to suffice. If I'm going to look at, as you saw from the example, when we have always looked at consumers as patients, we are looking at it from their life from this place only. When they fell sick to when they recovered and moved out. We have never seen their past, their future. So it creates a lot of dissonance in their mind. So for you, when I look at you, I am not looking at you saying that, okay, as a fresher, you'll be able to bring to table the ask of creating a 50 crore brand out of a 5 crore brand which is on table. What is it that you should bring to table is to be able to figure out your role in certain way, and to be able to value add on that role, and to be able to bring your mark to that. Kalyani worked on a certain brand from January 2022 to February 2023, and this is what she did. If you leave your mark, that's all I ask for.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Kalyani.
I see there are no
I don't
more
see any hand.
raised. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
So, ma'am, I would like to invite Tina to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Tina.
Thank you, Alicia. I hope I'm audible.
You are audible, Tina.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. It gives me immense pleasure to present the vote of thanks. I'm Tina Samtani, and on behalf of Deccan Education Society, IMDR, I want to thank you, ma'am, for giving us your invaluable time and for inspiring us on this topic, VUCA World, that we have been hearing for so long and that will be prominent from now on in our lives. Ma'am, your thoughts, experiences, stories, and most importantly, your thought provoking questions have really inspired us and encouraged us to dig deep. As you mentioned in your talk, knowing one's playground is the key. Businesses are not run on graveyards, and to know where we stand and to know our key competencies is the key to navigate through treacherous seas in this VUCA world. Being so proficient in what we do is so important to you, as you mentioned, that you should be able to do what you do in 1/10 of the time as well. Business is about people and not products. So, taking one's team together is the key. And finally, play to win. Success is not a birthright anymore. Even surviving can count as a win. So, developing resilience and innovating and improvising as we go forward. Ma'am, these learnings and lessons have been and will also prove very helpful to all of us in our future endeavors. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that interactive session. Uh, I would also like to thank our director, the faculty, the non teaching staff for their continuous support and for encouraging us with such corporate connect. I thank the entire student organizing team, the technical support, and last but not the least, all my fellow student colleagues, without whom this session wouldn't have been successful. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much, ma'am, for inspiring us.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you, ma'am. Shruti here. So
Hi,
we are
Shruti.
grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences with our students. Your invaluable words of wisdom, which actually motivated the participants, were very inspiring, ma'am. Truly inspiring. And your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way. You have shared your real life experiences, different kind of brands. So it has highly been appreciated by our students. And thank you so much for answering variety of questions so meticulously, ma'am. So we really enjoyed your session. We really enjoyed your session, ma'am. All the participants took some invaluable takeaways from this discussion. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Shruti, for having me today. I understand it's a Saturday, and I understand people have their days planned and their dates planned as well, despite this entire situation we are in. And I wish you all the best. I truly wish you guys succeed. And thanks, Shruti, for the regular follow up. I couldn't have been happier doing this today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have thoroughly enjoyed the session.
Thank you
So
so
on
much.
behalf of
Thanks.
my team also, student team also, as well as participants, I thank you again. Have
Thanks,
a
guys.
great time ahead, ma'am.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Have a great weekend ahead. And thank you so much for